Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are reviewing Saw 5. As I get a drink of Gatorade. And of course it was another bloody movie, but it had more of a storyline. And at least there was at least one redeeming quality. I'll just say it right out because I don't think it's going to spoil the story in any way. But they found the little girl and they rescued her. So
yeah, pretty randomly. Like, there's so much hilariousness with that since, I forgot all about it. Like, I've seen these sequels already, and I didn't even remember that because it was just so, like, what? Like, it was funny how, like, in that third movie, he made it seem like he hid her somewhere that they'd never find, and it would be really hard, and it's like, no, it was actually super easy. It's super easy for Hoffman, who's a bad guy as well, for him to just be like, oh, okay, I know where she is, probably, and he gets her.
well, the problem I had was the guy was a property owner. I've been through this now every episode, how he had all this money to be able to do all this stuff with all this equipment, which cost a fortune, and all these devices. And anyway, he owned all these properties. It's like they never even checked out what were all the properties. If they had checked them out, I don't know if they could have rescued anybody necessarily, but that's how they would have found the little girl. So since the bad guy got her, rescued her, you don't you assume that's what they were looking into, or he looked at a photograph and saw him, and who knows, because they don't really show that.
They never
just saw him
really
rescuing her.
Like, to me, they never really show any investigation into, like, his properties, and I just, they have so much going on. It's like, when do they have time to? But then you think, other people who are working on the case should be able to do that at some point.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Like, the ghost of Donnie Wahlberg can do it.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be pretty funny. He does a ghost investigation into Jigsaw, and then Jigsaw's ghost shows up and he says, hey, do you want to play a game? And he's a ghost.
There's a couple things where, just to further on the story, they say things so quickly, and there's just so much that kind of comes out all at once that you're kind of like, and what now? Because there's so many moving pieces in a clump together, and
yeah.
So I kind of felt like, if you didn't watch it about 10 times, you wouldn't, and maybe more than once, because it's dark and people are screaming. There's always like 60 seconds left or 5 minutes left. You see the clock ticking off, and it's almost like when all that is happening too, you're trying to figure out what in the heck is going to happen and what's going on now. And anyway,
well,
I had a little trouble.
I didn't have trouble, but then again, I should state, this is probably, along with the second one and the sixth one, the one where I've seen it the most. Because when Blockbuster went out of business, because they're retarded, they were giving away all these movies on clearance sale and all these video games. And one of the movies that I bought from Blockbuster was Saw 5. And I just thought, it was a solid movie. It was entertaining. And I watched it over and over again just because I had it. I didn't have any of the other ones, except for, I think, the second one. And then, I watched the second one, too.
Yeah, it seems like Marco, I haven't seen the rest of them, but so far, like, the ones that he got from Blockbuster were the best ones.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the second one from Blockbuster, but I have both of those only, and so, I couldn't watch any of the other ones, except for online. And, well, I do like the sixth one as well, but that's the one we're reviewing next. The fifth one, I feel like it's kind of underrated. It's smart. It's not like, again, these Saw movies are not like top tier horror movies, kinda. Like the second one I would consider a top tier horror movie, but in general the sequels are not these like avant-garde movies. So, I give them leniency where other people don't. And I feel like, they're fun. They've got a lot of flaws. They've got a lot of bad acting at some points. They've got a lot of goofy stuff, but they're good. And the fifth one, I think, gets a bad rap when it's the fourth one that really... I mean, the fifth one feels like such an improvement over the fourth one. It feels like they listened to all of our complaints, like about it being too complicated and about the editing being too much, and it feels like they listened to every single complaint, like they watched our review and then they made it, which they didn't. And so I think that that's something to say, like the fifth one was a huge improvement.
Yeah, it was. And
I mean, I didn't even remember the thing about the little girl. And it's like, that's something. Right?
Yeah, well, that's what my problem with the whole thing is. There's hardly any redeeming
that is one.
And that is one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And they don't really... there's no detail. They just show a policeman holding her in a blanket and coming out of a building. And it's dark.
But she's safe somehow. And there you go.
Which is good. But she did say, "Where's my mommy?" Which her mom and dad are both dead. So
yeah,
it's too bad.
But I thought that's cool. And that's something that, it's just kind of brushed over, but it's still something that's, it's not like the third one or the fourth one where it's like just everybody dies. It's game over for everybody. That's how it ends. Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. Like, it's like, fuck that. Like, I want to see someone make it through. I'm sick of this shit with this, oh no, actually, I shouldn't have done that. Ah! Boom. And then, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Ah! Boom.
There's actually a few of that stuff in this one.
Game over!
Which I don't get.
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. It's like, no, with this one, you have that thing at the very beginning, the girl gets saved. That's cool.
Yeah.
And as well, Stromboli, Agent Stromboli, he gets in his own saw trap after he gets locked in. And he gets his head in this box, and it fills up with water. One has to wonder why he doesn't just drink the water.
No, he can't do that. His head is completely immersed in water.
It's poured
in on him and it's closed up. It's like a bottle.
It wasn't at first, though. It was in the midst of filling up, but he immediately stabs his pen into his throat, which was really gross to watch. Yeah. And so he can breathe. And I thought, that was a really smart move. That was cool, too. I mean, so that's another thing cool about this movie. You have a character who does something smart like that, and they make it out. Fine.
Yeah. I wasn't really sure how that worked, but it was so gross. And you could see he was completely immersed. The water was over his head.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God. And he makes it, and they show him with a bandage over his throat, but basically he's intact. But then they get a new detective, and that makes, on the case, who's never been on it. I don't know where he's from, but he's suspicious of him because all these other people are dead and he's alive.
He's from Stupid Land.
Well, he just
like all the police in the Saw movies.
I know. Their investigative skills are poor. Anyway, but they don't know about the duplicity of the bad guy.
And mostly this movie is about two storylines. You have the storyline about Agent Stromboli going after Agent Hoffman or Detective Hoffman.
Because he knows he's responsible. He figures it out. He actually does look at files and figures it out.
He figures it out like 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
And so I thought that was pretty cool too, the way that, it feels like, I don't know, it just feels a lot more like things are going to go differently, and he's actually going to, win. A good person is going to win the movie, and it's not just going to be game over for everybody. And then, at the same time, you have a new group of people and a new game. And that was another highlight of the movie, because they go through these traps, and the people who die, it's very surprising, because you don't expect the ones to die who die. Like the black woman, who's currently dating Token King in real life. She dies at one point, and then there's the smart guy with glasses, and he looks like Stanley Tucci.
He's an investigator.
He dies, and the two people who you least expect to survive are the ones who make it to the end. And that is this rich crackhead and this woman who's kind of like... If you guys want to know what a final girl is, just watch this movie. Right, Safi? Like, that is what I mean when I say a final girl. That's exactly because she looks like one, she talks like one, she acts like one.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Why did the rich girl, why did the rich guy survive? He's the one, he was very impulsive. And the thing is, in these traps, what they did was they weren't all just stuck in one room the whole time. They went from, every time they finished a trap, they went to the next room, and then the next room. Every room had a... But if you could do it was easy to see what you could do to start triggering, like shutting the door behind them. And the girl, one of the girls shut the door really hard behind her.
Yeah.
And then the guy did something, the crackhead did something where it was unnecessary. They didn't need to do that. They could have stood there, looked around, tried to figure out everything before anything got set off. Look at the instructions.
Well, they didn't have infinite time, because the nail bombs were going to go off, and you had to close the door, because if you didn't close the door, you get exploded by the nail bombs.
Oh.
Safi?
Well, I mean, they slammed it shut, and I thought, wait a minute, just wait a minute, but I guess they really didn't have very many minutes to wait.
Yeah.
So, but it just seemed like the guy, he was impulsive. And,
well, I ended up liking the crackhead because he just seemed a lot nicer than the other people. He didn't just want to kill everyone. Like, it seemed like in the movie that the theme was you have to kill someone. Like, that was the running theme. Like, you have to sacrifice someone. And he didn't really want to do that at all. He thought, like, he didn't really want to do that. So, and then at the end, they reveal that, we could have survived all of these traps, actually.
All of them.
All of them.
Because, why?
Because there were solutions to all of them. And they go into detail explaining how they could have gotten through each one of them.
In the first trap, where they all could have been decapitated, they each had to get their own key. But guess what? The keys were identical. Mm-hmm. So they only needed one of the keys to undo all the locks.
Mm-hmm. And that was cool. And then what was the deal with the second one? Because in the second one, they had these...
The electrocution thing?
No, they had these what were they? They
tunnels?
were tunnels where they had... Point your head forward, Safi. The audience can't hear you.
I'm trying to think. They had a room, and off to the sides on the walls were these tunnels. It only big enough for like one person. You go in there, and there was a grate behind it, and you had to get in there because the whole thing was going to go up in a firebomb or something.
You had to smash these glass boxes with keys, and each key had a key to a different door with a different shape, and you had to get all the keys, and I guess one person couldn't make it. But what was the solution to that one? Did I miss
keys
that?
had a certain shape, had to go to a certain door, I guess.
No, but how would all of them have survived?
I don't know about
Because
that. Unless two went into it's like a sewer pipe.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that was, but there was obviously a solution, because then they said for the next one, with the electrocution, all they had to do was four of them or five of them, all five of them would take an electric shock to open the door, and that would be it.
Well, maybe the keys were all alike, and that one with the sewer pipes, I'll just call them sewer pipes, I don't know what else to call them, water pipes, sewer pipes, whatever. But the way the key looked, or the way the wall thing looked, where you had to put the key in, the key went a certain direction. So maybe in another door it went left, right, and then another door went up and down, and then the next one went right to left. But it was all the same shape. You just had to put it maybe they.
I don't know.
Because if they could all get away, that would not be the only way they could do it.
I don't know.
I don't either.
But then you had the electrocution one where there was a bathtub, and they said like, you have to electrocute someone or something with these things, and so what they do is they kill the black woman, and they put her in the tub, and they attach all the things to her, because they're so racist, and what they could have done was they could have had all five people hold the things and get shocked a little bit and survive, and I thought, that's really cool.
Yeah.
In all the other ones, they don't explain that at all. They don't show any solutions, basically. They
weren't all there by that time anyway. It was only 3 people. But I guess what would they have done then? I guess they would only need three things.
One person or 2 people would take 2 shocks, and one person would take 1 shock, I guess. But then you had the last one where you had to fill up this jar with 10 pints of blood. And you had to stick your hand in this hole and get your hand sawed into so that blood oozes out of you, which is just really gross. And there were 5 holes, so that means that all 5 people should have been there. And I thought that it was hilarious because, like, in no other Saw movie so far have they gone to this length and this detail to tell you that they could have survived and that they could have done this the smart way and no one had to die. Like, I thought that was really cool. That's really like, in all the other movies, it's just like, oh, haha, you suck. Bye-bye. Game over. You shouldn't have done that thing that wasn't really obvious. You shouldn't have done that. Game over. And in this one, it's like, no, we could have done this a different way and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is so much better than, like, the 4th one where the black guy he has to, like, kill people or has to put people in traps, and it's like he has to learn that he can't save everyone and bullshit like that.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like a ethical thing. That's part of your job. It's like you take an oath or something to do a certain thing, and that would probably be part of the oath.
Well, it's like at the very least you have to try.
Yeah.
You can't be like Jigsaw and be like, game over! Like, that's what he does. That's what they do every movie. Like, game over!
Well, I can't imagine what's going to happen in the next 5, and then another one that's coming out soon.
Well, you remember the stupid Spiral one with Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Spiral.
It's forgettable.
Remember that, Safi? They had that stupid rap song at the end of the movie.
It's still
Spiral, 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 spiral. Like, that was so stupid. Like, that was awful. So, with the Detective Hoffman story, a big part of it was him being apprenticed by Jigsaw and him becoming Jigsaw's apprentice, and what happens is he kills this guy who killed his sister, and Jigsaw is not happy because he doesn't like his work being copied, and he doesn't like being accused of doing something he didn't do.
Yeah, because he said it was Jigsaw that did it. He made it look like it was Jigsaw, but it was him. He was getting revenge.
It was the pendulum thing, and I thought that was a pretty cool trap, too.
Yeah, I was thinking about those Edgar Allan Poe movies with Vincent Price.
You mean The Pit and the Pendulum?
Yeah, The Pit and the Pendulum.
Yeah, Safi. You really like that movie, don't you? You like Pit and the Pendulum?
I wonder what the makers of that would think of that Jigsaw movie.
I don't know. They're probably dead.
Well, they're all dead, of course. Very old movie.
Vincent Price might like it. I don't know.
He did too.
Vincent Price. And so we see like this backstory, these flashbacks, and what I loved was there were not very many flashbacks. There were not very many like cutaways from the main story. It was very focused, and it was so much better than the fourth one, where the fourth one just jumped all over the place.
Yeah, you almost got car sick.
I did. I got a headache.
Got sick with your stomach.
And there's really cool scenes with them, like when Saw traps him and he has the shotgun to his head, and then the part where they're setting up the traps for the second movie, that was really, really cool. And he's like, you gotta anticipate the human mind with these traps. That was really, really cool. And then finally, at the end of the movie, Hoffman has made it to where you think the Agent Stromboli is the bad guy. These stupid police people, they think he's the Jigsaw's helper. And then at the same time, Stromboli is investigating him, and he gets into his own trap room, another trap where there's a coffin, and he doesn't listen to the full tape. He's like, oh, that's enough. I'm not going to put up with this crap. And then he starts to leave, and Hoffman goes in there. He throws Hoffman in the coffin. And then
slams the door.
Yeah, and then he finally listens to the rest of the tape, and the tape says, "If you don't get in the coffin, you're fucked." And he's like, "Oh no!" And then the room starts caving in on him, and Hoffman in the glass coffin, the coffin goes into the floor, and it's like, that was awesome. That was a really awesome ending, a really awesome twist. And it was not the best twist of the series, but it was simple twists.
Yeah, but how is he going to get out of that?
Who?
Hoffman.
It lets you out after it's over.
We'll see. I guess so.
It lets you out. It puts you back up, and the walls go back to normal.
So the good guy, who was stupid enough not to listen to the directions,
Stromboli,
he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bad guy gets to live.
Yeah, that was cool. It was simple, and I like that. It's like they're not stacking 10 twists on top of each other, like it's a box of cinnamon twists from fucking Papa John's or whatever. You know, it's just one twist.
I think it's Taco Bell, right?
Taco Bell has the cinnamon crunchy gross things, but
Maybe
Papa John's has cinnamon twists for desserts. They're really gross. It tastes like bad cinnamon toast. And
there's not much to them.
So I like that. I really like that. So I think the movie's underrated. I think that it's pretty good. I think that it's definitely a pretty good Saw movie. I mean, to pretend... That's the weird thing, too. Like, there's all these people... They really love the first movie. They think it's a masterpiece, which it isn't. It's a masterpiece in terms of a horror movie, but it's not a masterpiece of a movie, like a regular movie. It's very boring in some parts. All the parts where they're outside the room, like the flashbacks, they're really not that good. And, all those same people, they pretend like this movie's bad. And it's like, I just can't see how you could like the first one for how flawed it is at some points with how boring it gets, and then you don't like the fifth one.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that hilarious, Safi? Like, how could you like the first one and not like the fifth one?
I don't know. I really don't. Doesn't make any sense.
Because they're a lot alike. They're not different. They're not that different. Right?
No, it's just simpler and easier to understand.
Yeah, it was...
and also you have the benefit of knowing some of the things that already went on.
Yeah.
It's more in context with other... And the first one was new. A new movie. So they're experimenting around. So... and to see what works and what doesn't. So.
What's your food? Do you have anything else to say?
Guess no, I don't. Even the little girl survived, and I was happy about that because I'm thinking, my God, this is an innocent child that's has nothing to do with anything that any of these adults have done.
Well, and that's the other thing with Jigsaw. It's like, that's so hilarious. It's like he says in the movie, "Murder is distasteful." But then he murders this little girl. He locks her up in a room, and he plays a game with her father where his only crime was that he grieved over his dead son. And he's like, if you don't do this, your daughter's gonna die. I'm Jigsaw, and I've got brain cancer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was stupid. That was a fucking retarded movie. I hate that movie, Saw 3.
So I was glad that like I said, that my pet peeve with the whole series is the lack of redeeming qualities, and at least this had one.
Your mom's a redeeming quality.
So that fact that the bad guy's going to survive is irritating, but I guess they need him for the next movie or two, or whatever.
I liked it this one time because I think, Hoffman doesn't have terminal cancer like Jigsaw did.
Right.
So I like that they're giving him these outs where he can escape and he's still going to be the bad guy because, let's be honest, if they did a series like with 10 movies where there was a different bad guy each movie, it would get really old really fast. Like the Scream series, that's gotten old. That's gotten really, really old with having like a different bad guy. And it's like, oh, look, the bad guy is the father of that person. Oh, and he's the brother of that person. It's like, fuck off. It's stupid. I'm so sick of the Scream series.
Yeah. So
right?
Anyway, I'll just give it a simple ice cream sundae. With chocolate sauce and ice... Well, how about hot fudge sauce and ice cream? Vanilla ice cream, like a dip, but nothing else.
Really?
Yeah, the chocolate sauce would be the little girl getting saved, but I was...
Oh, God, Safi, don't say that on camera. That is disgusting.
But I was unhappy about the good guy
Stromboli?
Killed.
What is Stromboli, Safi? What is that?
I think it's some kind of meat dish. Some Italian meat dish, maybe?
Yeah, what is Stromboli?
Pasta? Some kind of pasta? I don't know. I've never made it, so... What about you? What?
You think that Agent Stromboli has ever had Stromboli?
Who knows, Marco? What's your review?
Well, it's tough for this one because I don't want to give it something too simple like I'm giving it a bad review. I would say probably This is like a McDonald's cheeseburger. And well, I think it's pretty good. It's a McDonald's cheeseburger with medium fries and a medium chocolate shake. Now, with McDonald's, it's the same thing with the Saw series for me, where I think for the most part, if you like the other movies, just like if you like the other McDonald's food, you should like this. It's a classic cheeseburger. You got the burger and the little tiny onions that are really good, and the ketchup and mustard, and the pickles that are really good, and the bun that's really good, and the fries that are kind of just okay now. And it's a simple meal. It's a simple movie. It's not like one of the greatest movies ever made, but it's good. It's enjoyable. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's all these people who just call all the Saw sequels trash. It's like they don't even give them a chance. They just say, oh, they're all bad. It's all bad. Just like when Christopher Lee called Texas Chainsaw Massacre bad, even though he never watched it. That was bizarre. Really weird.
So anyway, next one will be Saw 6.
Yeah.
And
you excited?
No.
Why?
I can't wait to get through this.
Why?
I'm just sick of it.
The 6th one is like one of the best ones. It's like better
We'll
than...
see, I can't wait to see why you think that.
It's almost better than the 2nd one.
And what else? We will have American Horror Story to watch this week.
And Slappy World, which
I've already read.
Yeah, I just need to read it, which means I have to commandeer Safi's phone. Because she has the Hoopla account.
Which Marco could do. He has to go to the library and get a new library card and sign up for it. So I signed up for it a million years ago. I don't even know. I even have like my original password from a million years ago. That's how long it's been. So anyway, I hope you liked this video. We both hope you liked it. And if you do, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. And give us some feedback, or just tell us what your feedback is about this Saw series. Have you seen this episode? Have you seen this?
Well, yeah, it does feel like a
movie?
TV show still. It does feel like this is the Saw TV show. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And this is just the next episode?
Yeah. And then there's 5 more, and then a new one coming up anytime.
No, 4 more, and then a new one's coming up.
Oh, okay.
That'll be the 10th one. It's called Saw X. What do you think of that, Safi?
I didn't know that. So that's what I said. I try not to really pay attention to any trailers, or I have seen a few. Like I say, I watched on the Facebook Messenger. I have 2 solitaire types of games.
So isn't...
And I sometimes... Well, it's on YouTube. I usually get those kind of movie previews on YouTube.
For Roman numerals, like, isn't XX 20?
Yep, sure is.
Well, so then isn't XXX 30?
Yes.
Well, so when they get to Saw 20, and they name it Saw XX, you can have Saw X, Saw XX, and the Saw porno parody as like a marathon, a triple feature in theaters, right?
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Wasn't that hilarious?
No. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.